Konnichiwa, Rock God Itachi here, and welcome to part number 3 on the 10-step guide to buying anime figures. So again, we'll do a quick recap. Number 1, we've looked at those anime figures, what types there are out there, and we've also looked at part number 2, which was the bargain sites. I told you about places that I go to buy my anime figures and how you can find a bargain basically and use those methods. So that was part number 2. This moves on to part number 3, which I will still tell you a bit more about bargains, but I'm also going to tell you about those dreaded bootlegs and how you can avoid them. Because at some point, even when you're starting out, you may pick up a bootleg and you may have that whole happy feeling of, I picked this up, it's awesome, it was a real good bargain, and then you will be crestfallen, like I have been many times, to find out that it's not the original product. So hopefully I can help you avoid that. So let's move on to part number 3. Right, so bootleg spotting. This is an interesting one because eBay, as we are sitting on here, is the place to pick up bootlegs, and it is so easily done. You can be so easily misled into what the product is, what the figure is, and okay, yeah, I'm getting a bargain, it's awesome, oh wow, free postage, that kind of stuff. It's easily done. So for instance, let's look at this one here, which you can see I've highlighted already. We have the Boa Hancock figure. So the reason why I'm using this is because I know there is a bootleg of it because I owned it, so that way I can help you, I can explain rather my situation and help you avoid it. That's where I was going with that. So as you can see here, they're using a stock picture first of all. Now the hilarious thing is this seller is actually using a stock picture of the bootleg. So I know that that's the bootleg, but you would go in completely oblivious to the fact that you'd be, okay, this is awesome, Boa Hancock figure in a wedding dress, something I've always wanted, $33.99, free postage, awesomeness, I'm gonna go for it. And the fact there are 4 watchers on it as well tells me that there are still people out there who are completely oblivious to the fact that this is a bootleg. So how would you go about avoiding this? Well, first of all, I would use the awesomeness of my figure collection, because myfigurecollection.net is an absolutely amazing site, and we will talk about it later on in the series. But first of all, I would go to this site, type in Boa Hancock. Now the chances are you're going to think, oh, I'm being swamped by figures, where do I begin? See if you can narrow down the figure that you've typed in. I know it's difficult, but it's worth it in the end. So I know for a fact, because I've done this before and I had to check, this one is the wedding figure. Okay, but you will have to sort of narrow down the figure yourself. It's worth it, trust me. Now when you get to the page and it shows you the figure, we have down here counterfeit. Now if the figure you click on has got that, then the chances are someone has put some pictures up or some information about the bootleg of the figure. So we have here counterfeit. So you click on this and there you are, look at that. That helps you completely, because not only have they given you what the bootleg looks like, but they've put it next to the original as well, so you can spot the difference. It's a spot the difference game, and you'll see a dramatic load of difference in these pictures. So let's look at this one for instance. Notice here how this all sort of goes out, this yellow bit in the flower, nothing on the original. The dress is grey, the dress is white on the original, head is tilted on the original, isn't on the bootleg. There is a lot that you can get from this website, and it really, really does help. So that is one of my top tips. Use myfigurecollection.net to try and identify if the figure you're going for on eBay is a bootleg. Now going back to eBay, as I've said before, try to avoid from buying from Hong Kong sellers. Now I'm not going to say that all Hong Kong sellers sell bootlegs, because not all of them do. There are some legitimate ones, however they are very few and far and in between, so it is very, very difficult to find a legitimate Hong Kong seller. That's why I avoid them in their entirety, because the chances are you will be buying a bootleg and you'll think it is, again, legitimate. So you just want to avoid it. And, you know, it's a waste of money. The same as me with the One Piece DVDs that I had. You know, I've got to buy all them again. The other DVDs, I've got to buy all them again because they were bootleg. It's frustrating, it's a waste of money, it's disheartening, and you get really, really upset about it. So you want to avoid that. So let's go back now and have a look at this one. We've got one from Thailand. Now, again, we've got a stock picture. Avoid. Just avoid it, okay? The chances are, yes, it may not be the original or not. In fact, this is a resin kit, so it's actually in some way a bootleg in itself, because I know that any kind of garage kit, resin kit or model kit, they are just sort of versions of the figure and they're not classed as being official. I don't know if there are actually official garage kits out there or not. Quote me if I'm wrong, but I'm not too sure on that one. So again, we've got another stock picture here. Now here we are. We have one from Hong Kong here that has the picture of the box. Now look up here. They have blanked that out, which is very, very interesting, because that is where the Toei sticker would be. And yet it's been blanked out on here, so I think that is very, very intriguing, and yet I still wouldn't go for it. Because I would be very, very, sort of very dubious on that one. Now, here we are, we've got this kind of stuff as well that you've got to look out for. You know, it is the original product, not fake. How do you know? How do you know it's the original? You're only going by their word. So again, I would avoid it. If you see it says on their China version, that means bootleg as well, so avoid it. There is so much that you have to sort of bear in mind when you're buying on eBay. This is why I only go for Japanese sellers. Again, we've got another stock picture here from Hong Kong. Stock picture, stock picture. You know, lots of stock pictures. Now we have another one from Hong Kong here. And that is an official one. Because as you can see, she's got the white dress, the flowers. Let's see if we can actually look at the figure. It's using stock pictures there, which is a bit annoying, but they've got the actual box and they do show you the figure. And as you can see by that box there and the figure, that is definitely the original figure, and it's also got a Toei sticker up here as well, so that does help completely, because that way you'll know that you are getting the official product. So you are looking already at $124.95. That is your bargain. All the others, you want to avoid them, to be honest with you, because the chances are, again, bootleg, and you just don't want that. So yeah, expensive. And I know I paid around about £70 off of United Publications for my one, so I know that that's how much you're going to pay for that figure. Now, if you are still, after all that, confused and thinking, oh man, okay, I've looked on myfigurecollection.net, doesn't say there's a counterfeit of the figure, and yet it's coming from Hong Kong, or and you're still a bit dubious because it says it's the original figure, it comes from, you know, it's a prize or something like that, ask people on myfigurecollection.net. Or better yet, see if someone actually owns it. So again, when you're on this page here, if I go back here, you'll have a list down here, as you can see, and you'll see it's owned by 280 users. Okay, so if your figure you're looking for is owned by 50 or whatever users, get in contact with them and say to them, do you know if there's a bootleg of this figure? And if there is, well, you know, where would I buy the original figure? And they will help you. The people on myfigurecollection.net are absolutely amazing, and they will be more than happy to help you. I mean, if you are still confused, by all means contact me and I'll see if I can try and help you, because I don't mind helping. But yeah, if you are having problems, just get in contact with them. I mean, that's pretty much all I can say to you, is that, you know, we've gone through everything else that that will help you avoid the bootlegs. The other thing with Hong Kong as well is that, yeah, if you see it's coming from Shanghai or Guangzhou, just avoid it. Completely and utterly avoid it, because those two places I know for a fact are bootleg places, and they have a lot of them there. So that's just something you just want to avoid completely. So how do you avoid bootlegs? The best way to avoid them is to use legitimate sites like Army, Mandarake, HobbyLink Japan, or if you are going to use eBay, like me, Japanese sellers, because you are 99.9% having a chance of getting the original. My mind went then, sorry. It's been a long day. But seriously, you know, if you buy it like I do from Japanese sellers, the chances are you will have more of a chance to get the original product. Because they're in Japan, they're not going to really want to send you a bootleg, because they're there, they can get hold of the original product. And everything I've bought from Japan has been official. So that's another top tip. If you're going to buy from eBay, just buy from a Japanese seller. And if you're still dubious, ask on myfigurecollection.net. That's really all I can say to you, but hopefully you will find that very helpful. So that's it for this one really on bootlegs. Hopefully I've covered everything. If you are still uncertain or unsure about any of this, by all means get in contact with me and I'll see if I can help, or leave a comment in the comment section below. And I am done for another video, so I will see you for part 4, where we look at another dreaded thing to do with figure collecting, and that is customs. So until then, I'll say thanks for watching. Sayonara.